I've always been the person to want to help. I've been fortunate enough to have been through many first aid classes and trainings. You could see the blood on the sidewalk.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the latest episode of Off the Clock podcast. I'm your host, Jared, on the marketing team here in the Columbus market, and we're here with two very special guests today. You already know our CEO of 5-Star Home Services, Christian, here to give you an awesome company recap. And then we have one of our heroic and beloved plumbers, George. What's going on, guys?
Hi.
Here, I'm gonna move
George.
this
I
mic.
regret the heroic thing.
Yes. So guys, I wanted to start off with a quick, just a little icebreaker. So just for some context, our company had an influencer event last week, and it was a huge success. It was officially Creator Day. So we invited some of our influencer partners in the Columbus, Cincy, and Dayton area to come join us at a location called the Kitchen and have a experiential marketing, bonding, networking event where we all made flatbread pizzas and essentially got to show other influencers in the area our company and our values and our mission to hopefully partner with them and spread our brand awareness. And Christian was there making some delicious flatbread pizzas. His team did come in second.
Oof,
rigged. It was rigged, but it was rigged. So Christian, I got to ask, what was your favorite part about the event?
I'd say just meeting the influencers, and I've actually followed most of them. You know, a lot of them are food and family influencers here in Columbus, Ohio, and so I followed a lot of them already, so it was just cool to meet a lot of them. And then I think the second thing was like to hear their feedback about our approach and how excited they were to partner with an organization like ours. And I think it just goes to show, you know, the outside the box things we're trying to do to be, you know, to separate ourselves in this crowded market.
Absolutely. And I know the feedback and comments from that event was no home services company is doing an influencer event. And so we have some big things planned, guys, in the marketing team, some really big partnerships we're securing too. George, though you weren't in attendance, you know, I always view you saw the pictures, and I know this is a pretty influential guy on the internet. He's you know, he's all about fitness and changing his life. Who would be one influencer you would like to see at an event that you follow?
It's actually a friend of the company's, Roman Atwood.
Oh.
I've followed him since...
Have you met him?
Yes, at a Jackets game.
He's super nice.
He's from the area.
With Brett. Yeah, he's out in Millersport.
that up.
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
All right.
I've met him in person, one of the kindest people ever.
He is. They're like taking over that whole town that they live in. They have like the laundromat.
Him and Brittany, yeah.
Yeah, and then
I think they have a car wash out there too.
Yeah, the car wash. It's like it's something happy. Their brand, and then they have
Smile More.
Smile More,
Smile More.
and then they have a drink now too, like a energy drink
that.
or something, or a protein drink. I don't know.
We're in the trades.
They're great.
We love energy drinks.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're really nice people.
This podcast is not sponsored by Roman Atwood, but if you would like to discuss opportunities, we are here. Christian, we're here with our entire company watching to give a company update of the last month. What were some of the biggest company highlights or wins this month, and how did that reflect our company's new core values that we have launched?
I'd say, you know, one thing was that we did our first quarterly breakfast wrap-up meeting, and while we've done things like that in the past, I've committed to doing it every single quarter, and I've also made the commitment that next time the management team and leadership team will make food for everybody, just to try to give back a little bit. I think it's key for us. Transparency, communication is really important to me. I want people to feel like they have access. That was the impetus for this podcast was, you know, providing information to the employees as often as possible at a highest level and give them the information they need to feel confident going out in the world every day. And that quarterly meeting is another example of that. You know, a couple other things were we just finished the month. I think today is, if I'm not mistaken, is today
May 1st.
Yep. So I woke up not knowing what day it was, but I knew it was May 1st. I didn't know what weekday it was, but I knew it was May 1st. And so we did finish last month with a record April. We've done more in April from a total revenue standpoint, but we had other verticals that were in there that aren't there anymore, and we basically equaled last year with quite a few less people. So that was a huge win for us, just to drive the business. And I'd say, that the core value that we demonstrated was relentless, because for 25 of the days, HVAC it was up against it. Luckily, the old adage held true. April showers. They do two things. They bring May flowers. They also bring fantastic plumbing work.
I'm already seeing that, just observing the guys in the field from all verticals, plumbing, electric, and HVAC, and just kind of understanding that our company culture is very strong right now. And I'm seeing plumbing guys interact with HVAC guys, and HVAC guys interact with our electricians, and it's just a very strong culture right now. How are we maintaining that culture moving forward and keeping our employees engaged, looking into the horizon?
Yeah, so I think you talked about collaboration. I want to talk about that just a little bit, because one of the things that carried us through last month was the collaboration between the plumbing and the HVAC division. We've never had more inter-company leads, like where a plumber books an HVAC call on the job. When we do that, we win, because the customer has already seen our value on the one side, so it bears to reason they would see our value on the other side. So huge shout out to all the HVAC technicians, installers, all the plumbing technicians and installers, because when you guys talk about what we do in the home outside of just your lane, it's what drives the organization.
Sure.
My belief is that every employee that works at 5-star wants to do a good job. Mm-hmm. And all they're looking for is permission. They just want their permission slip signed. And if you meet with if you're a supervisor or a manager, if you meet with your employees regularly and you sign that permission slip for them every couple weeks, I say this consistently I think I've said this on this podcast before, and I will probably say it again. I have a firm belief. The reason I check in, I don't just check in with God like, hey, God, what's up in the morning? Like, I have a dedicated routine where I get up in the morning and I connect with God, and I do the same thing at night. My belief is that if I bookend my day with God, it's really hard to get too far away. Some people call it walking the spiritual beam. It's hard to get off the beam if you're constantly checking in, right? And it keeps us in alignment with what's God's will for us, right? And so if we take that down to the company level, right? If we're checking in with our employees regularly, we're providing them with that, hey, you have permission to do this. Now, 2 weeks from now, let's check in again. Maybe the permission has changed. Maybe you've shown that you can take on more, so let's expand that. Our employees want permission, and they want to know, where is it safe to play? So let's help them, give them that communication. I will tell you this, I've made it really clear to the management team, not doing one-on-ones, not having regular touch bases with your employees is unacceptable. And so, if you haven't met with your manager, come to me directly, because I will make sure it's taken care of.
Absolutely.
George, what was that look for?
Yeah,
Can you edit my face out? That was somebody's in trouble.
Nobody's in trouble. You just got to do your job.
Long as you do your job.
I mean, it's like...
But I mean, what you're describing truly is a healthy work environment and a healthy relationship between upper management and the employees they manage.
I'll give you one more analogy, and this is like a good relationship analogy. Is like, imagine if George, you have a lovely wife and a beautiful family. Mm-hmm. Imagine if you went home every day and all you ever did was speak to her, and as soon as she opened her mouth, you walked out the door. Now do that for 90 days. Or better yet, don't talk to your wife for 90, like literally no communication for 90 days.
She talks to you and you just walk away. That's going to go well, guys.
Oh, that's not, you can't do that for 90 days.
Right.
It won't happen.
The relationship will become fractured.
Yes.
We have to think of the relationships we have within this building are the same. If we don't have constant communication, and it has to be both ways, it can't just be the manager putting in on a Teams chat what our expectations are. It has to give the employee the freedom to speak back. But not all employees are going to feel comfortable speaking out in a public forum. So you have to get in a room. And what I've told the managers, and this is for the employees too, I don't expect it to go perfectly on the first one. It is a consistent thing. We probably won't see real traction here until we do it 5 or 6 times consistently. And here's the thing I've told the managers. If you cancel that meeting once, you lost all credibility with your employee.
Yep.
If you tell them you're going to meet with them and then you cancel it because some other thing became too urgent, that employee's going to feel like they don't matter to you.
Agreed.
Make the time, dedicate the time, and then the employee, on the employee side, because I've been hammering on the managers a lot, closed mouths don't get fed. You know, if you have an issue, if you see something broken and you sit on it and you talk about it in the parking lot and you don't bring it up, that doesn't help anybody. That actually is a distraction and takes away from what we're trying to build here. So if your manager's putting in the time, I'm just asking you to meet them where they are and put in the same amount of effort.
It's amazing how far we can go as a company if we just talk to each other and listen to each other. They're two very simple things.
5 Star is one of the only companies I've ever worked for where you have that much intermingling, especially in between departments, in between managers. It really helps push us forward, and I think that's why we've seen so much growth in the last 3 years.
I hearing Christian talk about his relationship with God as well, it kind of ties all back into that, because when Christian is discussing that, look, my boss is God and the creator, and I am having frequent conversations with him throughout my day because it's very important to my spirit, but as well I'm listening and being guided by that. That's how he's able to lead with empathy as a leader and lead with heart. That's a really beautiful take on that. So just kind of the last question regarding the company recap. What is one company value that we should all kind of keep top of our mind going into the next month?
Jared, I'd say in May, the mindset shift now over these next 4 months is, and George really knows about this because he sat in that manager seat, and man, was he involved in some really fun months, and he knows about the daily goals and all that we track at that level. And, what used to be $125,000 a day would meet the mark. Now it's 175 because the total month, the expectation for the total month is basically almost doubling. And so the core value we need so we are a group of passionate, relentless experts who always serve with integrity and do more than is expected, which represents generosity. So as we think about that, the one I'm going to pull out for you is the relentlessness.
Yeah.
We need to be willing to go into the home and talk to our customer about multiple opportunities. We need to make sure that we're standing on integrity. And guys, I'm going to tell you, integrity is giving them more than one option. Like, if you've never shopped our competition, you should, because a lot of times they don't give more than one option. They say, this is your only option. It's $35,000. Take it or leave it. That's not who we want to be as an organization. And so we have to be relentless. We have to take every opportunity as the opportunity in this house. And we have to be willing, when we pull up in that driveway or on the side of the road and we park that vehicle, before we walk in the house, we have to clear our minds of all of the head trash that we've carried our entire lives. We have to let go of the call that just happened and the bad, maybe we didn't get where we wanted, or the customer was rude, or it just didn't go our way. We have to let that go, and we have to go into every opportunity with a fresh mind and a fresh start and a willingness to be open to whatever presents itself in that call, and really exemplify that relentlessness every single day.
So we have a special guest that joined us today, George. And Christian, you asked to have him on this podcast because a particular situation occurred last week that truly demonstrates our values as a company, our values as humans, and just, being able to truly help customers, and not just that, but our communities as well. So if you could introduce George. How long have you known George? And just maybe give a quick little background of why he's here today.
So George and I have worked together for coming up on 3 years this summer. And I will tell you that, George and I at times have gotten to work really closely together, and we've gotten to spend time together outside of work. We've shared some meals together and maybe a golf cart or two. The thing I love about George is when I think about passion for 5 Star, George is somebody who exemplifies that. When I think about somebody who's relentless, George is the kind of guy who, it didn't matter what time of night it was, if I wanted to have an all-company or an all-manager call to celebrate a win at the end of the month, he was the first one to jump on that call. I also think of George as being the expert. I mean, like I said, when he came to me that day before he was the plumbing manager, and before we transitioned him, and that's the other thing is like the 6 core value. We always talk about adaptability. Like he exemplifies that one. He is an expert in his field. He's also an expert on 5-star, which I love. Like he cares about us. He cares about the vision. He cares about the mission. He cares about serving, and he believes in profit on purpose. I've heard him talk about it. I've heard him pitch it to his teams, and I love that. I've never had to worry about George's integrity. I mean, he's just utmost integrity. And then I would say, like, when I think about George on the generous side, like, if you aren't friends with him on Facebook, you should be. He takes his daughter to breakfast or makes her breakfast every weekend. And I just love seeing that relationship between him and his family. I've loved getting to know him personally. And he's just a special guy. And I mean, to me, he's one of those people that, like, I put hashtag for life. Like there's people in this organization who've been in my office, and I've told them, like, hey, we have gotten married, and we
are married. You told me that.
And what's the follow up after that?
No divorce.
And we don't believe in divorce, baby. So at 5-star, when we get married, we don't believe in divorce, and so and that's why when George came to me months ago and said, hey, I think I'm ready for a different thing, I said, no problem. Let's figure it out. Because you are going to be on this team. We'll just got to find the right seat for you. And I think right now in the season that he's in his life, we've found that. And someday it might look different. But I can't say enough amazing things about this man. I truly just love him.
Wow. Everyone watching, you don't understand, like, the emotion that's coming out of Christian when he talks about not just George, but the people that work here, and your just passion and heart for us is it's
inspiring.
It's inspiring. It really is. So, George, last week a situation happened where you came across a dog attack, a pit bull attacking a child. Could you kind of walk us through what happened that day, what you saw, and how you reacted while you were on the field?
So the short end of it was I was on my way back from a parts run, 25 mile an hour up into a neighborhood. And at first I thought I saw a kid running with their dog, and I'm like, geez, that dog should be on a leash. Like, wait, come on, kid. And then I saw the dog grab the child. And then I saw the mother shortly behind the dog frantic. So we did not break any speed limits, but we sped up a little.
It's fine.
Caught up, wailing on the horn. The dog took off. Another person stopped and kind of looked out with a stick, but I've always been the person to want to help. I've been fortunate enough to have been through many first aid classes and trainings. You could see the blood on the sidewalk, and so I knew the kid was injured, and he was I don't know how old he was, somewhere between 5 and 8, about the same height as my daughter, and so. He was upset. The mother was very upset. And I asked them, I said, look, I placed the mom in the front seat of my van. And I told the boy, I said, what if you hop in the back? Is it okay? I have a first aid kit. We'll try to stop some of this bleeding while your mom calls 911. And it was a frantic situation for the mother. But she ended up getting the information and where we were at in Whitehall to the dispatcher. Getting the boy's wounds to stop bleeding was a little bit, but lucky enough, I mean, I personally carry first aid kits in all my personal vehicles, but 5-star ensures that we carry a very robust first aid kit with trauma pads, gloves, ACE wrapping, antiseptic wipes. So we were able to get him cleaned up and to minimize the bleeding until first responders showed up, and they took care of the dog issue. And
was the dog still around at that point?
Yes. Luckily, there was the second guy that had stopped was watching the dog while we were in the back of my service van getting the kid cleaned up. And unfortunate situation. Nobody knew it was a stray dog.
Oh my
Nobody
God.
knows who it was. that kid's probably scarred for life.
Yeah,
on
that's so
dogs,
sad.
which is unfortunate. As,
Yeah.
like we're all pretty big dog lovers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, the first responders showed up. They made sure the dog was away, and then they took the child to the hospital to get further inspected. I imagine there were a couple bites that looked like they needed maybe 1 or 2 stitches. So
Okay. Do you have any follow up on how the child's doing?
I don't.
Okay.
no,
Definitely
they
praying
it was
for that
just
family.
it was just a happenstance. I told his mother, like, I hope everything's good, but she needed to get going.
Right.
And get in the ambulance with her son. So
George, first off, thank you for sharing that story, and I just want to really, commend you for, doing what was right. And I look at, our field staff, like, you guys are on the road constantly. You are out there in the communities firsthand, and we think of how amazing our first responders are and how grateful we are for them. But sometimes it does take a local plumber who just sees something is wrong and steps up to the occasion. How has this experience changed the way you think about your job and role in the community?
this experience doesn't change it too much. I love my job. I love what I do. I love 5 Star. I've always been very outspoken about that. I think as humans, right, being kind, giving aid or helping people when we can, it's extremely important, and it's also one of the best parts about 5 Star is that we help so many people that you got to do it on your own as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well said. Well, George, we just want to thank you, and thank you for being the guy that took the shot when they needed to. I know a lot of people that probably would have just kept moving, or, that initial reaction, oh, some dog is just, isn't on a leash and it belongs to the kid, and actually kind of observing the situation and being aware.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, the kid's really lucky you were there.
yeah, it could have gone a lot differently.
We just wanted to take a minute to honor you, and I mean,
I appreciate it. I don't want to be viewed as a hero. I think that it was just, you are supposed to do the right thing. I think everybody should try and step up to do the right thing.
So I hear exactly what you're saying. I think what I'm going to tell you is that what separates the average person from a hero is not only knowing what the right thing to do is, but also actually doing it. So
Yep.
I'm going to say that you are a hero, and for that kid, you're a hero.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that mom will never forget what you did.
so
I got some big hugs before they took off.
I bet.
I
So
bet.
Well, you're pretty good at that.
I love
you.
hugs.
You do give a good big hug.
If
I
you
would
ha-
say you and the 2 people who give me the biggest hug is you and Richard. Rogers.
Richard.
Oh
I
my
love it.
God!
I
Well,
love
he
him.
kind of just like, he's so big that
Yeah.
it's like it just kind of like.
Come here, my child.
Yeah. Look, I don't know how aligned with HR this is, but George does give good hugs, and if you ask him, hey, I'm having a bad
Why
day.
does it just sound funny when he says that?
Why? I don't know.
If you ask him, hey, this bucket's
Oh
about
my
to
God.
break.
You are about to go down.
If you're having a bad day and you want a George hug, ask him first for permission.
Got you.
And he probably will give you a nice hug and make you feel better about your
I
day.
think asking first makes it more awkward.
No, but you definitely got to ask.
Yeah.
Guys, this was a lot of fun,
that's good.
a lot of laughs, but in all seriousness, it was really beautiful to hear that story as well, and then hear also from Christian all the exciting things that are happening at this company, and we're gonna have an awesome summer. I'm excited. I'm fired up. This is gonna be a really great summer for 5 Star Home Services. We have some big things coming, guys. Some really big things. So. Well, that is our episode Off the Clock podcast. I'm sitting on 2 buckets, and I feel one about to completely collapse on me. So I probably have another 45 seconds. So Christian, George, thank you so much for joining us. And get ready. We have episode 8 coming next with a very special guest from marketing. So stay tuned for that.